Hello, all my sister friends. We just got finished watching episode number 20. We talked and talked and talked and talked very late. It is 12:30 at night. I don't know why I'm starting to record this, but I am. We'll see how much I get done. And it may be really short, or I might just give up and have different clothes and finish this another time. We'll see. Okay, so at the very beginning of the episode, we have Janelle loading up the huge U-Haul and getting ready to go across the country. And David is actually the one driving the U-Haul across the country. And we have Janelle and Christine in the van, which is awesome for filming because we get the conversation with the two of them. And Janelle always likes to drop a little nugget here and there to just entertain us. Not intentionally, but it still entertains us. And I love it. I'm here for it. You can see the heightened anxiety on Janelle's behalf because you know what it's like that final day, all the last minute things that you're trying to figure out and the last minute things you're trying to put in place. She's packing up her entire life into a truck to move it on the other side of the country. In the same time, 3 kids that she loves with all her heart and soul are still staying back in Flagstaff. So she's leaving a huge part of her heart there, going to her future and the promise of a better life for herself, and also going to where her grandkids are. So it's a bittersweet kind of situation, but it's a good move for her. And so even when you move a kid to college, there's that angst and I'm not even saying the first year of college. It could be the third year of college, and they're going to the same dorm that they were in before, and there's the familiarity of it. It's just that last minute, oh, do we have this? And you got this, you got to go here, and they're not coming back here for so many months. She's not coming back at all. She'll come back to visit her kids. Maybe, or they'll come to visit her, or I don't know what it's going to look like, but you know what I'm saying. I understand. I moved a daughter to California to go to college. I had kids, and none of my kids were less than 2 hours away from home. That exciting, but also anxious butterfly feeling, I understand very well. So I could completely relate to her in this scene when there was nervousness and maybe even a little bit of snipping at people because you just want to make sure everything is taken care of. You don't want to forget anything, and you don't mean to be mean at anybody, and you don't mean to be angry, but you also want to make sure all T's are crossed and all I's are dotted.
You know what? I was thinking about this last night because I couldn't sleep. I'm so stressed out about this move. Should we put a ratchet strap holding that desk in place, or you think it's okay?
Janelle went ahead and moved without giving Kody a phone call and saying, hey, I'm going. Now, she made it very clear she didn't feel a need to because they haven't talked to each other in forever. They don't talk to each other about anything. They're not talking about the property. They're not talking about anything. He's not responding to her. He's not answering phone calls. He even said, I'm not talking to her about the property until I feel I need to because I don't want to talk to her.
Janelle asks me about the property all the time, but I don't trust her anymore, and so I don't give her any information. We will pay off the property when the time comes, and I'm not giving you any details about what I'm doing or whatever.
He's intentionally not sharing any information with her about anything. And yet, when she decides to move, he's a little butthurt that she didn't share it with him. In Kody's world, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. This is what he has to say.
I don't know how to explain this.
Try.
It was never intended for me to know that Janelle was moving.
Kody's explanation of how he found out. Sorry. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but I don't think English is his first language. He said, all right, I'll just play it.
One of my children at their admission slipped up and told me.
One of my children at their admission slipped up. Wait, what did he say? One of my children. I can't even remember. My brain can't even remember it the way he says it. One of my children. One of my children at their admission slipped up. What does he mean at their admission? One of my children slipped up and told me. what he should say. One of my children at their admission slipped up and told me. One of my children what does he mean by at their admission? I mean, kind of adjacent. I understand what he's saying. Oh my gosh. He uses words that are just
wrong.
Again, sort of closely related to what he's trying to say. If we were talking about it in a different way, but still talking about the same subject. One of my children admitted to me that they knew that Janelle was leaving. I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to let it go. It's just unbelievable that every single episode he can manage to take a bunch of words semi-related, put them into sentences that grammatically don't really make sense. But overall, you can get the gist of the meaning of it. Again, very ESL. Like it's the grammatical structure of a different language. And you're using a different language grammatical structure and translating that structure word for word using English words. Like sign language, the grammatical structure is time, location, subject, object, verb. So if I had the sentence, Dad ate the pizza in bed yesterday, and I switched it in, and I was going to say, Dad ate the pizza in bed yesterday, and I was going to sign it in sign language. I would sign it, yesterday in bed, Dad pizza ate. So if I come up to you and I go, yesterday in bed, Dad pizza ate, you would be like, what? Like you would understand what I'm saying, but it would be slightly off. It would seem as if English were my second language. It's the same thing with the Romance languages, with, the grammatical structures are different. That's what it sounds like when Kody speaks. But it isn't an actual second language. There's no other language I know that what he says matches up with because it's inconsistent. Sometimes he throws extra adjectives in that aren't necessary. Sometimes words are just in different places that they don't need to be. Sometimes like this, he throws a phrase in there that's unnecessary. It's just odd. It's just odd and awkward and kind of uncomfortable. It's like his sentences feel like this. And they should just flow. And they don't. Like there's a short, they need a new battery or something. I don't know. Something's off. That's all I know. Something's off. All right, let's go on.
One of my children at their admission slipped up and told me and then said, please don't repeat that or pretend you never heard it.
So one of his children, let's investigate this a little further though. One of my children slipped up and told me, we're going to get rid of that at their admission. One of my children slipped up and told me, and then said, please don't repeat that or pretend that you never heard it. So one of his children, who's actually speaking with him, because he doesn't have a lot of them that do, so we can rule out that it was Gabe or Garrison. At this point, it probably wasn't Gwendolyn, because at this point, I don't think they were talking. My money's on McKelty, but who knows? It could have been Truly. At any rate, he comes right out and says, this child of his, who's in his good graces and who's speaking to him, told him something they know they weren't supposed to say. They slipped up. They made a mistake. They said, please don't tell anybody I said that. And please don't repeat it. And went as far as to say, pretend like you never heard it. And what did Kody do? Put them on blast. Threw it on television for everyone to see. I don't have to say anything, right? I don't have to say anything. He speaks for himself. He wonders why he has so few kids that respect him. And then he does this to one of the few children that he has a relationship with when they overtly tell him, Dad, I made a mistake. Please don't repeat that and pretend like you never heard it. How much respect do you think that child has for their father after that incident? This is followed by a really gross little scene. Things that make you want to go, ew. And this is Kody doing dishes again for Robin. It's like the 99th time we've seen Kody do dishes for Robin. I have seen him do dishes 0 times for any other women in this family. The most I've ever seen him do dishes is rinse out his cup. He has rinsed out his cup when he was mad at Janelle and tossed it in the sink and threw it with his hand up in the air when he was angry at her. Threw the cup in the sink.
That's too late. We're never going to do that.
This is not...
So what partnership do we have?
This is not only me, Kody. Don't you dare point your finger at me.
I've been here.
If you want to call that doing dishes. He rinsed his cup out. Well, he says he's doing dishes to turn Robin on. Okay, fine. I will admit, a man doing chores around the house is a good thing. So I can't argue with the logic. It is indeed a bigger turn on than, I don't know, well, 2,000 times bigger turn on than what he thinks is a turn on, which is the next thing that he's going to say. Oh, this is again, prepare yourselves, chew your food, swallow, hit pause if you have to first. You don't want to be eating when you hear this. Here's the other thing he does to turn on Robin.
I'm notorious for coming out of a shower, putting a towel around my waist and flexing and going, hey, what do you think? You know, it's way over the top, and I'm just trying to flirt with her.
I mean, it would get my attention, all right. As I'd run to the bathroom and Ralph, I'm just trying to flirt with her. Does it work? I mean, maybe they're made for each other. Maybe they're made for each other, because,
Not hot.
Like, if he came out and did that, I would be like, stop. Put some clothes on and go downstairs and vacuum. All right, let's go on. Okay, now we have... This family is the family of the worst actors in all of television. I mean, just the worst. Why can't they just have anything organic happen in this family? There's nothing real about their conversations. Everything sounds like they scripted it, like literally scripted it. Like it is written, Aurora enters the room. I hear a cat behind me. Was that Chubbs? Are you back there? Come out here. Come on.
They're not listening.
They're cats.
Don't you go on that couch. Oh my lordy. Is that your brother? I see you over there. There you are. Yeah. Good boy. Yeah, that was your brother, wasn't it? Go get him. You tell him he doesn't belong scratching that couch. Yeah, you go tell him. Go tell him. That's right. You good girl. You're such a good girl. Oh, yeah, this creepy scene. Wow, look at his hairline. Holy Toledo. Oh my gosh. I don't have my phone here. Can I take a screenshot of that? Look at that. Holy TLC does not let me take screenshots. I'll have to make a note to take a picture of that later. I have my camera. I wonder if I could do a... Nope. No screenshots. How did they prevent that? That's amazing. Okay, we were talking about Brianna. Oh, right. Okay. Not Brianna. Aurora. Okay. Aurora comes in. oh, look, you're both in the room. I'm not even going to try to replay it. I'll play some of it, but it's just this. What a surprise. You're both together. I wanted to talk to you. Oh, hi, Aurora. Did you want to speak with us?
Hey. Oh, this is perfect. You're both here. Can you guys have a minute to chat?
What's going on with you?
What's going on with you? Okay, bring it.
Oh, you actually want to talk to us?
Yeah,
Robin, full makeup. And when I say full makeup, I'm saying like stage makeup. Eyelashes. Robin has got this new thing where she thinks stage eyelashes that look like tarantula spiders are what are the in thing. I don't understand it. I feel like her eyes are going to start twitching from spasms of pain from trying to keep those eyelids open, holding those lashes. The most ridiculously heavy, thick, long, fake eyelashes you could imagine she's wearing. I don't know if it's because she's pulled back on the big, thick, black caterpillar eyebrows. It's a good thing. I mean, they're still pretty big and caterpillar-y, but they're more brown. They're not like black painted on anymore. And maybe that bothers her. Maybe she really, really loved it, but she realized all the backlash she was getting. So now she's throwing those caterpillars onto her eyes because she just needs to have a big splash of black somewhere. I don't know. So anyway, her face doesn't look real. And then in walks Aurora, exactly the same. I'm sitting here going, instantly from jump, nothing feels real about this scene. It's like we were all walking onto a stage. And so the inauthenticity of it between the roteness of delivering the lines and the fakeness of what the lines are. Oh, you're both together in here. And then all showing up looking like a porcelain doll with these big ringlet curls that you see on porcelain dolls. It just... Fake. Nothing's real about it. Nothing. The only thing real about this scene is Kody's head. I mean, it really is kind of funny. I'm looking at it right now. It really is. It's really receding. But God has not taken away these two little bands in the front, these two little circles. If those two little spots were not there, all of this would be gone all the way to back here, and Kody would have nothing left, and he'd just look like Bozo the Clown, so he'd have to shave or cut the rest of it off. But because he has that in the front, he thinks that that's covering all of this somehow. I mean, it doesn't, but I suppose it's like any given day. Maybe on some days it's fuller, so it fills out more. And then as the day goes on, as it gets heavier and it weighs down, all the chemicals and stuff he puts in the hair weighs down, then it starts to separate, and then you start to see all of the balding spots. Could be. I got balding spots myself. Starting to bald right in this little spot here, this little spot here. Depending on the lighting, some days you see it more, some days you don't. Understand.
I can admit it.
You do what you gotta do, but Kody's not willing to do what he's gotta do. Not yet. He's still in denial. Wonder when that day will come. Maybe we should do a poll. Should I do a community poll on that one too? When will Kody accept the fact that he's bald and shave the two circles on the front of his head? Looked like he still had those two little dots in the interview that they showed for the tell-all at the end. So season 19 still has it. So is it 20, 21, or beyond? When either God takes away every last hair in those two little dots, or he's willing to shave it off and just let it go. I mean, I hope he never does, because it's just kind of fun to see him thinking it looks amazing. I mean, he would look, so his brothers are bald and they're good looking guys, so he probably would look handsome if he ever shaved his head. This Bozo the Clown look is just fitting the whole narrative of his persona for the show. Kody is making me so uncomfortable in this scene. I don't know why.
So we gotta focus.
Maybe that's the reason she's so excited. All right, leaning over the counter.
Leaning in. Wow, that's so...
What do you gotta tell us?
Why is he creepily smiling like that? Why is his face all red? And why is he laughing? Your daughter just came in and said she wants to talk to you. Why the song and dance? Again, probably because this whole thing is scripted and made up and he's trying to act and it's coming off terribly. I'm not going to play the whole rest of it for you all because it's basically, the whole thing is Aurora going in to sadly ask permission. There's no way around it. I heard other people say, oh, I don't think she's asking permission. She's just informing them or giving them a courtesy. No, there's no way around it. She is letting them know that at the church she's been attending, she has been moved to decide that she wants to be baptized, and she's asking their permission. And so they kind of talk about it and they're like unsure, they're confused. And again, now I'm just going to give some grace here because they apparently don't know any better. It appears that in their faith that being baptized at a church meant that you join the church. It apparently didn't have anything to do with your profession of faith and your connection to God. It meant that you join a church and so you get baptized into it. So very different than a lot of other faiths. Most Christian faiths would say that a baptism, especially an adult baptism, is specifically an adult baptism, because an infant baptism is really like a baby dedication. But an adult baptism is your public profession of faith. That's all it is. It's you saying you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior and you want to do it in a public manner. You're not shameful. You're proud of it. A public profession of faith. It's all about your relationship with God. That's it, really, in the end. It's not a requirement at all. It has nothing to do with joining the church whatsoever. You could be baptized at a different church and join a church. You could be baptized at that church and never join the church. Like, they're completely separate things. They have nothing to do with each other. So there was a big disconnect in this conversation where Kody and Robin weren't understanding that. Or they were pretending not to understand it for the scene. Who knows? So eventually they got on board and they were like, oh, I understand. Okay, well, that's something that we always just wanted for you, that we prayed for you, that you would have a connection with God. And she's like, okay, so you're fine with it. And they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. And at that moment is when I realized, oh, okay. So she is asking for permission.
The right answer to me.
Beautiful. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys...
Well, hold on. I'm still suspicious.
Because she's like, oh, okay, you're okay with it? And they were like, no. Hold on, let me think about it again. I want to say that there was one moment in this scene that I actually felt was touching. I felt like she just said, no, it's just about me and God. That's it. I enjoyed that. I felt like, yes, that's what it's about. It's that simple. That's all it's supposed to be about. Everyone makes it so complicated. It's not about rules. It's not about how much you do. It's not how good you are. It's not about any of that. It's so simple. So incredibly simple. Oh, Christians in the world make everything so complicated. You get down to the root of it, it's very, very simple.
It's not about the church. It's about me finding my steps in finding my relationship with God.
And I really enjoyed that. And it looked like Robin and Kody really got it in that moment too.
Or did they?
And I just thought, wow, this was like a real breaking through of the cultiness of their belief. And then, I remember right afterwards banging my head thinking, no, because then she asked Kody if he would be part of baptizing her. And I just felt like it just tainted the purity of that moment, because
he doesn't understand anything.
It's not for me to say. It's not for me to say. It's clearly not my baptism. I'm not there. I don't know their hearts. I can't judge them. I don't have a leg to stand on. I really don't. This is me on the outside looking in. This is me just giving my opinion looking at it. I am just giving you my reflection of the show. As I was watching it, this was my reaction. I was smiling. I was enjoying it. I just thought, oh, that's so nice. I like that. I'm actually enjoying a scene with Robin and Kody. in this moment here right now with Aurora. And I think it's sweet. And I feel like they're on the right track, all of them. And then I just felt like it was one of those, like car skid or train off the track kind of moments. Just an episode or two ago, Kody looked like the devil incarnate himself in the interview. Like, he says things that are so evil, just evil. And he has like this root anger in him, and I just don't understand. Have him come, wonderful. Have him be a fly on the wall. Have him stand in the back and just oversee what it looks like for people who just go to a church and are joyful. It's not all about earning and how many wives can you have? How many children can you have? Like, it just all seems like a works-based faith that he was in. It doesn't say that in the Bible. That's not your way to salvation. And that's the point of the Bible. So that made me sad. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about it. Very, very sad. And somebody said they saw a preview to the next episode, or at some point they saw a preview, and they saw him actually dunking her. Because I thought, well, maybe he'll be one of those people. Sometimes they're not actually baptizing him. Sometimes they're not even in it. They're outside of it, but they just have their hand inside touching him, just sort of letting him know, I got your back type thing, or I'm here with you, or I'm excited for you. But somebody else said no, that he was involved in the baptism. So I just was upset about that because I'm judgmental. That's why. And that's why I go to church every Sunday, because it's for sinners, and I am a sinner. Church is like a hospital. It is not for the most holy of holies. It is for all of us that either need to be saved or need to be healed or continuing to grow, have work to be done. There you go. Nobody is perfect. We're all a work in progress. You see it here on a weekly basis. All right, moving on. We have a scene of Meri at her B&B, and there's not really a whole lot to say here. This is the time that she realizes the B&B is no longer going to be a B&B. So Meri's mom has passed, and Meri's mom was the one that was running the B&B. Jen has been kind of filling in the interim. Meri has moved up there, but it's never really been Meri's heart's desire to run the B&B. And as it turns out, the cook, who apparently was an amazing cook, has decided to retire and no longer cook for the B&B. So now she doesn't have the person running the B&B or the cook. And she said, I think this is just a sign. And they've decided to kind of turn it into an event center. That's the conversation that was had here. No big revelations or anything. It's just sort of part of her moving on with life. I will say it felt like a little bit of a step back. This is that peek into the window of Meri's soul where she's talking about this next man she's going to meet in her life. And I mean, all the way down to, well, he might be living in Montana or Wisconsin or Wyoming, or I don't remember where she said he might be living, and so she might need to move there with him and everything. We're talking a lot about this hypothetical man who doesn't exist yet at all, when she really still hasn't even gotten over Kody.
Sadly.
Who really broke up with her a decade ago.
Well, when you put it that way.
This is a woman who has a really hard time moving on. I really think, and we discussed this a lot this evening when we were talking about it, she needs time to just be with Meri. She needs time to grow up emotionally. Emotionally. She does. She just needs to be with herself, be independent, not rely on any man, not depend on a man, not want a man. She needs to get to the place in her life where she doesn't want a man.
You need to spend some time alone.
And once she gets there, then she's ready to have a man. That's what I think. We move on now to Janelle and Christine doing some more road tripping. They stop at this place called Plathville. What was that called? Plathville. Okay. So they stopped at a place called Plathville. It's like a big storage. It's in the middle of the desert, and it's just like a big metal container, and there's a lock on it, and somehow you get the code to the lock and you go inside of it, and it's a place that you can leave something of significance when you're moving on in your life, something along that line. So you like leave a note and whatever it is, and it's to signify I'm leaving this behind, and then you lock it up inside this place and you move on. It's kind of cool. I sort of like the idea behind it. The fact that they put on camera that Janelle hand wrote this letter, and she left the necklace that Kody made for her when he made those 4 ugly pieces of jewelry for each one of them. But they weren't all like ugly. First of all, they were like the size of a brooch that you would wear on a coat. But they were on a chain. So they were huge. They're the kind of thing you really would wear around your neck. And I wasn't sure if she would like hers because it was black too. It was pretty manly and heavy. I never saw her wear it, but she said she really liked it a lot. I think she liked the symbolism of it, and she liked that Kody made it, and that Kody was thinking of her when he made it. So I'm happy that she liked it. And nevertheless, she was leaving it behind. And so that you just leave it on the shelf, and they showed them leaving it there. And I'm like, how many people are gonna now show up at this whatever it was, and go in there and take that note now and take that jewelry. But apparently, as we were doing this, was it Huckleberry? I think it might have been Huckleberry. I think she's our investigative person. We have a couple people who always can like come up with facts during our life, during my SOS exclusive level members. Like 2 minutes later, I'll say something, and then the next commercial break, I just looked that up, and blah, 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 and they always have this information. They're amazing. They said they just did some research on it, and it does have a lock on it, and it's permanently locked up right now. There was no way to get the code to get back into it at this point. So I don't know if it's because the show had aired it. My guess is the production may have gone and taken them back out of there. But it was a nice little scene. I like that kind of stuff too. Kind of like, remember back in the geocaching days? Do they still geocache? I thought geocaching was so much fun. Anyway, geocaching's probably still out there. I mean, but we geocached before we had smartphones. I mean, we were using GPS little things, so it'd be much easier with smartphones, I think, these days. Anywho, you don't care. Let's go on. As they're talking to each other, Christine is revealing that at night she has a lot of dreams and nightmares about moving on with her life, as they're talking about moving on and the whole significance of leaving something behind, yada, yada. And her nightmares are that she wakes up and they're all living in one house together, and David's not there, and she's married to Kody again.
Nightmare!
And she's like, where's David? She's kind of back to her old life, but not only back to her old life, but they're all living together in one house. Janelle shares she doesn't dream or have nightmares about Kody. She doesn't even think about him. She's just moved on. I love it. I love it.
She is totally moved on.
Go, Janelle. She truly seems indifferent about him. Like, no, I've closed that chapter. Closed it. Mostly. Financially hasn't closed it. And if she's not going after the money for the house that she put into the house, and she's only going after the money for the land, she's pretty much closed it, because she deserves a lot more than just the money for the land.
She sure does.
Janelle making us laugh, sharing little bits of information with us. And actually, not even sharing little bits of information, but just her saying things that were obvious to us, but it coming out of her mouth. Now, this is her talking about that birthday dinner. What's the name of that restaurant? I can't think of it off the top of my head. At any rate, I'll put the clip in. And it was after they had kind of split up. They weren't together. He tried to get back together with her. She's like, I don't know. I like my space. Let's stay separated right now. Because that was after the big blowout fight. And he thought that he could just take her to El Pollo Loco, or that was. Well, it wasn't El Pollo Loco. Taco Bell. What was that Mexican place? Salsa Brava, that's it. So he took her to Salsa Brava, and he just thought he could eat beans in front of her and turn her on. She would come running back to him, and he was just shocked when she said, yeah, no, I think we need some more time apart from each other.
I do think I want to stay separated for now.
Really, you want to stay separated?
Yeah, I do.
So he takes her out, he calls her up on her birthday and says, you want to go out to eat? And she says, okay. And she admitted then, like, oh, all right, well, it's just, I don't have anything else to do, so I might as well go out on my birthday. Why not? It's a birthday dinner. It's nothing else than that. And I'll have to insert clips for this, as I always make more work for myself, don't I? But I remember him being stoked, like he thought this was a big deal. He was like, and he's like, I'm jonesing, like a new guy going out on a date. Like, this is our first date? Are we gonna kiss? Like, giddy, gross little schoolboy, all horned up for this date, and Janelle not into it at all, right? Well, that was last season. Since then, he's watched her reaction, where the whole time she was like, yeah, no, we're just going as friends.
It's just a fun time to go hang out and do something for my birthday, mark the occasion. We're not going to discuss deep things.
I had nothing to do on my birthday, really. So she's talking about it again here. Christine's like, well, I think he had other ideas. And she's like, yeah, no, I don't know. Possibly, but I never intended it for it to be anything else. I just wanted a good dinner out of it. I basically was using him. It's so good. Maybe I'll put that clip in too, because it was funny.
He had a different thing in mind.
I know.
Lately. Oh my
I was totally using it. Sorry, I mean, I've been married to him a long time. He owed me a,
There you go. This is one of those conversations that you have with your girlfriend that are not meant to be overheard by a lot of people. Bravo for her.
Because I remember afterwards, Christine started laughing too. It kind of took her by surprise that she just came out and admitted that. I just was using them. It was great. Oh, and then we go to a talking head interview after that. And Kody, and this is why I said I had to insert that other clip, Kody's like, yeah, I didn't expect anything that night. Yeah, you did. You not only expected it. Crazy cats. It's because I didn't feed them. They get wild when they don't get fed. Oh, my lights are moving now. That must be under the desk. How'd you get over there? I thought you were behind me. How'd that happen? Oh, they're chasing each other. There's two of them. Okay. What was I saying? Crazy cats before the crazy cats. Oh, Kody says that he never expected anything that night.
Nothing was on my mind, but we're in the friend zone. This is just me trying to have a nice time without any expectations.
It was on tape. You saw on tape, like we saw on tape, that she wasn't into it. But also on that same tape, you said you were all into it and you were all giddy. Did you forget about that part? Kody's such an idiot.
Get a reservation at Mariposa?
Yeah, I did.
Honey, thank you. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I get
You did
stuff done. I feel like the magic man again, you know what I mean? I kind of feel like a guy on a first date that's like jonesing, like, hey, are we gonna kiss after this date?
When is he gonna learn that these cameras are not just for him to see what's going on, but everybody? Oh man. I mean, he shouldn't learn. Let him continue to be as clueless as possible and completely contradict himself, because makes for
Entertainment.
Hi everybody, this is halfway through the episode and your opportunity to hit the like button, the subscribe button, as well as the bell, and click on the links to the Amazon items that I like the most before you do any of your Amazon shopping. Whether you choose to purchase the items or not, doesn't matter. Any shopping that you do afterwards benefits my channel and I appreciate you. Now back to the review. Okay, going back to Kody and Robin and Aurora in the kitchen now with that scene. Kody says yes, I'll be part of it. Aurora gives him a hug. We cut to a talking head interview with Robin. She says, I'm sorry. maybe I shouldn't even say anything, but because I think she's trying to be really nice here, but I just couldn't get over. I always make fun of Kody's redundancy in his speech. Robin says, verbatim, including Kody and her including him, I feel like is a way for us to kind of be included. And you all voted that she is, what was my poll results? 77% said that she's smarter than Kody. What were my poll results? When I said, who is the one that's intellectual? And I said, not street smarts, just intellectually. Who, because I really was on the fence with this one. Who is intellectually smarter? Let me go. Posts. Oh, we had Robin at 82%.
Recount!
I said, who is intellectually smarter? And then I said, I know this is a tough one. We had the Y for Wyoming girl or the man of incoherent thoughts and sentences. And Y for Wyoming girl at 82% thought she was smarter than Kody. And this could be true.
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Including Kody and her asking him, I feel like is a way for us to kind of be included.
But including Kody and asking him, I feel like is a way for us to kind of be included and a part of it. Or included. Oh, and then she explains what that is in case you don't know what included or being a part of it means. She goes on to say, and not feel so much like an outsider.
Oh, now I understand.
You know, included. I don't know, why would you feel like an outsider if you were not actively involved in somebody's baptism? I have seen many baptisms in my day, and many of them, I don't even know who the people are that are there. I mean, if I would feel like an outsider, that would be like an outsider. I don't even know who those people are that are up there. But I don't feel like an outsider at all. In fact, some of them bring me to tears. Yeah, there's something about it that just stirs something up in me. And of course, at the same time, because I get moved by music so much, music is being played and people are singing, worship songs going during the same time. So it's sort of the whole positive vibe of the moment that you get swept up in. Yeah. Never felt like an outsider at all. I would say most of the baptisms I've seen in my life, I had no idea who the people were. So it's interesting to me that she felt like Aurora did that so that they didn't feel like outside. So does Robin feel like an outsider because she wasn't a part of it? Like, I just don't understand that philosophy of hers. Or does she feel like she's not an outsider now either because she's married to somebody who's participating in the event? But her daughter was participating in it, so she shouldn't be an outsider. I don't understand. I really don't understand. I mean, it can't be because they attend another church, because it's been a decade and a half since they attended the other church. And Robin has already been to that church. She's gone to all these churches, and she's met with all the leaders of all the churches with her kids. So it's not like she hasn't been an active part of going there and seeing them. So I don't know. I'm verklempt. Help me out. What does she mean?
You gotta get me in her head.
On second thought,
I'll pass.
The saddest part about the whole scene, though, is at the very end. Could have been the sweetest part. She went and gave her mom and dad a hug, which was nice. But she went up to him and goes, I was so nervous.
So
I was so nervous.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me, right? She can't talk to her dad, and that came out earlier in the season, where Robin even admitted to Kody, the kids sometimes can't talk to you about things because you're a little intense, especially when it comes to religion, i.e. you can get angry and you can get loud and you're very opinionated and In this scene right here, we see that she was asking for permission to do this. So I can see the intensity there. Also, it appears that Robin is very opinionated and also is very concerned and like, ooh, I don't know, that's a big decision. Baptism? And when Brianna was talking about meeting friends and maybe meeting a guy, and she's like, oh, I don't know about guys, but maybe you can meet girlfriends at the church, right? And then Brianna's like, oh, yeah, that's what I mean. Like the controlling nature of her mother can make it so that the girls always look like they're afraid to speak up and talk to their parents. Even at the picnic table at the last episode, they appeared scared to talk about the fact that they're not interested in polygamy and how many kids they might want to have and why. It wasn't a conversation. It was them spewing out just a line here or a couple words. And then Kody talked and Robin talked. And they just said a few words. And then Kody talked and Robin talked. Like they don't share much in front of the two of them. Maybe they do a lot in other circles with people at school. They seem to talk a lot more with their siblings back in the day when everybody was together, which is what makes me real sad about the fact that the family's breaking up, because I think when you really think about it, Kody and Robin's kids probably got hit pretty hard, looking at how Brianna and Aurora were so outgoing and flitting around and laughing and vivacious and chatty and talkative and laughing a lot and sitting on everyone's laps and like just, they seem very outgoing. And now they seem scared to speak. So that's unfortunate. It wasn't until this moment that I realized how much they actually got affected by this whole thing. And this whole thing was all because Robin wouldn't let the family get together because of COVID, because she was so neurotic. Which then led into her not even letting them see each other, because those kids could have been getting on Zoom every day. Like, she just was very, very controlling. Yep. Next. So back on the road, traveling with Christine and Janelle, we have them now talking about what road trips were like with the whole family. And Christine is sharing that when they used to travel, they never knew where Kody would spend the night, which they didn't explain why. Well, they said they didn't know why. Kody just decided that when they traveled, he would stay with whoever he wanted to on a given night.
Because I'm a man.
But he didn't know who that was going to be until that night. And Christine said she realized she was pretty needy. She wanted him to stay with her, but he didn't always stay with her, and she didn't know what was going on, and she interpreted it as being needy. They cut to Meri. Meri said, listen, I'm a planner. I'm an organizer. I like to know how things are going to go. I wanted to know if Kody was going to be there or not be there. Fair enough, especially when there's, all these kids and planning involved. Janelle said, I was always hoping he would not stay with me. She goes, life was always way more disruptive if he was there. So you would think one extra set of hands, an extra adult, would be a benefit to have him there. No. It was a major disruption to have him there. It was like adding an extra child to the mix. It was way better if he just wasn't there. That speaks volumes. Robin, I just didn't know. If he was there, it didn't really matter. Like, if he was there or if he wasn't there, I didn't know. I couldn't remember. I don't know. It wasn't any different, I guess. Well, you didn't know because he was probably always there.
Thanks.
So Kody... I'm sorry. Kody explains his his theory, his planning, his thought process around this sudden change of schedule, not informing any of the sister wives where he was going to go, where the schedule's thrown out of the window. We have this set schedule, but we're traveling now, so none of that applies. And where I'm going to be that night, I'm not going to tell you until the very last minute. But there's a method behind my madness, and this is what it is.
I was flying by the seat of my pants most of the time, just creative.
He's creative. I was flying by the seat of my pants most of the time. I was just creative. You can't contain this. An artist must art. Surprised you didn't say that. That's a very Kody line right there. An artist must art. Oh, you were flying by the seat of your pants. Okay. Creative. What in God's green earth is creative about the fact that you are refusing to tell your wives your plans for the evening while they're trying to contain and control all of your children? How in God's green earth do you call making a frenzy out of their lives as they're trying to keep control and not giving them the information they need creative? It's not creative. Improper use of the word. Frenetic, unorganized, could use those words. Creative, no. Wrong word. Very wrong word. This one, not even adjacent. Just wrong word. So funny he thinks it's creative. I don't even think he thinks it's creative. I think this is an excuse, a lie to try to cover up his poor planning and lack of leadership. That's, I think, what's going on here. Oh, we go to pair one. They're cleaning up after their party. And Meri says, well, actually, it's Jen, actually. Jen says it's the end of an era.
It's the end of an era. That quickly.
No, it's a really sad end of an era.
No.
And wait, who was it? Rain Lady in the chat when we were watching it live together wrote in the chat, it's the end of an era, not an era. I thought was so great. No truer words were ever said. We go back to a conversation that we've talked about a couple times, and I feel like we're repeating the same thing, but every time she says it slightly differently, and I feel like we get a better insight to it every time, but I don't feel like I'm getting a whole lot of new information. I feel like I'm getting confirmation on what I have assumed all this time. And what I'm talking about, did I clarify where I am even talking?
No, you didn't.
2:18 in the morning. This is my problem. I am so sorry. I'm talking about Janelle in reference to the money going into the family fund and / or directly into Robin's house. Because at the beginning of the conversation, she's kind of talking about how our money for a couple decades would just go into this family fund and then it would go to whoever needed it. But then she more specifically talks about how the money from her house went into Robin's house because she felt like that's where it needed to go. And she was more than happy for many years to let money go where it needed to go because she felt like the time would come when it would come back to her. But that time never came. Now, Kody comes back and says, oh, she had her opportunity. I tried to buy her a house, but she didn't want it. Well, Kody always loved Christine's house, which is weird because the bedroom at Christine's house was a loft. So there was no real privacy. It didn't even have a door on it for the longest time. She had to beg him to build a door. So he wanted Janelle to move into Christine's house, which just feels a little creepy and odd to me. You know, it's like moving into your ex-wife's house. You know, and staying in her bedroom where she, no. No. And then Janelle said she never liked that house, so she didn't want to move into that house. So she didn't understand. She also liked houses that were in areas that were very lush and that had areas for big gardens. Christine's house was just out in the middle of nowhere with just a big desert backyard. It wasn't Janelle's vibe at all. That's why she probably didn't like the house. Janelle probably didn't care at all about what the inside of the house was like. I think for Janelle, it was all about the yard. At any rate, because of that one situation and Kody being bitter about the fact that he was losing Christine's house, which he really always liked that house, he's now mad at Janelle. Well, Janelle didn't want to buy that house because it was way cheaper to save money for the whole family to put into Coyote Pass so they could pay off the land. Because the sooner they could pay off the land, they could all move onto the land. They could start building on the land.
That makes sense.
So in the meantime, she was more than happy to take a little bit of money, buy a camper, live on the land, so that the whole family could eventually move on to the land, start building homes. because she believed in the dream the whole time.
Big picture.
I do believe she might be the only one who did. Because I don't know how much Meri really cared about living with everybody on the land. I think she just sort of had this pie-in-the-sky idea that Kody might want her back. But I don't know how much she really cared about being back together with all of the family. I mean, I think she liked them all when they were all young, but like as they've grown up and they've kind of grown apart, I don't know how much Meri wanted to be back around everybody, and I don't know how much everybody wanted to be back around Meri. Clearly, Robin doesn't really like to be around anybody, but sort of superficially wants to be around everybody just enough so that she can be the top wife. She likes to have that standing, but like keep everybody at an arm's distance at least. She likes to be able to look from her mountaintop down at everybody. Like, she wants to be close enough that they can see her up there to worship. Christine, I mean, she wanted the family to be around each other, but she didn't want to live in one house together at all. On the land, I don't know that she really cared whether she was down the street a mile away or all living on the same property. Most of the kids most of them were already in high school by the time they moved there. I mean, the whole thing seemed ridiculous. Nobody really sat down when they were in Vegas and said, wait a minute. Most of our kids are in middle and high school. By the time we move there, actually pay off the land, get a builder, get everything approved, all the land stuff, get all of the electricity and water and all the necessities built into the land before we can even build the houses, get the houses built. And we're talking, and this is if we could pay it off right away. It still would have been a good 3 to 5 years before they would have moved into those houses altogether. Most of those kids would have been gone to college anyway. It made no sense, even if Kody wasn't dragging his feet and paying off the land, even if all of them were on board and they were 100% invested in paying off that land as soon as possible, doing it all by themselves, independent contractors. I mean, there's no way it could have gotten done quicker than that. I mean, especially with Kody in charge. Oh my goodness. And there they were 7 years later, not a thing done on the land. Still not even paid off. Sure enough, the worst decision in Sister Wives history.
Hands down.
Horrible decision to move down to Vegas to begin with. Doubly bad to move out to Flagstaff. So bad. And I blame them all. I always say it. I blame them all. At first, the wives stood up and said no. I mean, Janelle put her foot down and said, no, my boys, they're like in high school. They're getting ready to graduate. No. I would not have moved. I would not have. I would say go. I will stay back here with my boys and I will meet you out there after they graduate from high school. I'll live the rest of my life with you in Flagstaff. But until these boys graduate from high school, I will be here with them. I'm going to let them finish out their high school years. After all they went through during that move to get down here and how much it took for them to transition and acclimate to here, if I have to get a little apartment here in Vegas just so that they continue to finish out here, that's what I will do. I'll put the house on the market. I'll sell it as soon as I can, and we'll just live in an apartment together. I'll meet you in Flagstaff as soon as I graduate from high school. We'll come visit you as often as we can. That's it. 100% that's what I would have done. I would have put my foot down. Sometimes a mom just knows what's best for their kids, and a dad can't see it as clearly as a mom can. Sorry to all you dads, but moms just can sometimes they have that emotional connection and they can see to the depths of the soul and the heart of a child. And they can just see how certain things are going to affect them. And it affected some of those kids in a major way. What were we talking about? Good lordy, Lou. Oh, right, we were talking finances. I got off on a tangent.
Again?
Okay, so, bottom line. Janelle said that she just assumed that Kody would be fair and that someday it would be her turn. And he said, I offered her the house. She didn't take it. End of story. I guess that means she doesn't get any of the money she put in back because she once was offered a house and said no. So she gets nothing. Kody logic.
And I really thought that by putting my resources towards
Robin's house, that eventually the time would come around, it would be our turn, my turn. But that never really happened.
Backup! Requesting backup!
Janelle, when she sold her home in Vegas, the proceeds from the sale of that went into Robin's home.
You know, I really did catch on too late that all of a sudden there was a change in thought that resources weren't for the benefit of the whole family.
You think?
It seems to be a very big hot button for Kody and Robin. And they're always trying to revise history about how things were paid or what was paid.
You think?
We worked together for so long, and I helped so much with these earlier years.
Do tell, Robin, do tell. I helped so much for these earlier years. Okay, all right. All right. I'll admit I did nothing in the later years. I took. But in the earlier years, I helped so much. I can't give you examples of how I helped so much, because I know you were paying off my debt, my 30 grand of debt, and I know that I had a nanny in those early years, and I know you all bought my houses and my cars and everything in those early years, and I never had a job. But I really did help in those early years, because I know after school I helped some of those kids with homework, and I'm sure I babysat a few of those kids. A couple times a week, maybe even. Yeah. There you go. Proof.
Like, for me, it's like, feels balanced.
Of course it does. That's the best delusional line right there. I mean, that's worth playing again. Let's watch it again.
Like, for me, it's like, feels balanced.
For me, it's balanced. I take, you give. Isn't take and give balanced? Take, give. Take, give, take, give. That becomes balanced, right?
How do you calculate? How do you figure that out? It's so confusing.
In the next scene, we have gone back to the road trip with Janelle and Christine. They have all stopped at a bar. In the previews and that, they tried to make it seem like they were all drunk. They weren't. I do believe that we have seen Christine drunk, and I don't know if it was the tell-all. No, it wasn't the tell-all. Whether it was the look back or the talk back. One of those, when she had that big glass of wine and she was sitting on the couch, and one of them, she was talking so fast and slurring her speech, they were running captions at the bottom of the screen. And in general, she kind of slurs her speech and she talks very fast. But this was a whole nother level. And she had a big goblet of wine. I don't think that was her first one. So I do believe we've seen Christine inebriated. At the end of the last episode, reviewing the last episode, on McKelty's Patreon, she made it clear that nobody has ever seen Janelle drunk ever. She said at most, Janelle might have a beer, but definitely nobody's seen her inebriated, certainly not drunk, probably not even tipsy. It's just not who Janelle is. And she goes, she would venture to guess nobody ever will. And it does appear in this bar scene, all she did was have a shot. And it was a slippery nipple. It wasn't a hard, knock you on your butt kind of shot. Equivalent to a drink, just condensed down into a shot glass. After that, she said she'd have a beer. My guess is Janelle took 2 sips of that beer. We did not see her. If she would have downed that beer, production would have showed that empty glass at the end. Or they would have kept showing her drinking more and more of it and had the glass go down and down. They would have 100%, because it's Janelle. When she said, "Oh, I feel it in my legs," then they were laughing. She probably started feeling warmed up, because when they came in, she kept standing there and you could tell that she was cold. She kept standing like this. And so I feel like that Bailey's in the shot really gave her a warm up. I think that's what she was talking about. I don't think it was like I can't feel my legs now, I'm so drunk. So we didn't get to see drunk Janelle, but that's okay. I do believe drunk Janelle would be a fun Janelle though. If the day ever comes. It's okay. I like sweet Janelle. I don't need drunk Janelle. I'm happy with any Janelle. So far, all the Janelles I've seen, I've liked. I think. Have there been any early on? You know what? Early on in the seasons, I felt she was standoffish and maybe a little rude because she was so quiet and she wouldn't say anything. I couldn't read her. So I felt like I didn't know her. She was the hardest one to get to know because she said so little and would just stare at times. But now that we really know her, I can go back and look at those scenes and go, I know what she's thinking. It's going to be fun when we go back and we rewatch the older episodes, knowing these people as well as we know them now, 15 years later, to watch them early on and be able to really see them and go, that was acting. Oh, that was interesting. That was telling. Wow, look at that. That is a scene where it was completely scripted and they were pretending. Like, it's going to be fun. So they're talking about drinking. Janelle starts spilling more tea, as she's been doing all season, and a lot in this episode too. She said that Christine enjoys having a drink here and there. Yep. She said, I don't know if Meri does. And then she said, I know Kody likes having a drink. Again, something completely against the church for the man who likes to act like he's all pious. I mean, Meri threw him under the bus just a couple episodes ago. She said that on one of their anniversaries, they went up to some lookout mountain and sat there and got their drink on together. So she's like, yeah, I had a drink with Kody. But Janelle said that she just never really got into drinking. It's just never been her thing. We did see her drink once at a pub. They went to an Irish pub when they were all on vacation together once, all of the wives. So they took a sip. They tasted some beers there. Janelle says, I'd rather eat my sugar than drink it. Yes, Janelle. That's why I don't drink either. I'm on the eternal plan of weight loss and getting healthy. So it just contradicts all of that. I'm like trying to only take in so many calories a day. I want to eat them. There was a time in my life where drinking them, I would have preferred. I'm not there anymore. Kody goes on to say he's never had a shot before, but he's just laughing about it and it's just being weird.
Gosh. I don't know. Okay, no, I've never had a shot before.
He's laughing. This is very, very funny to him. So he starts doing an imitation of sipping whiskey.
A little sip of that whiskey. Just a taste. Oh, dude, that's gasoline. You know? I mean, it just cracks me up. It's like, you drink this? It cracks me up.
Just cracks him up. Whiskey cracks him up. Did you ever hear the story about the whiskey and the bourbon that went into the bar? I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere. 2:46 a.m. Can't think of one right now. Let's go on. I think Meri said she's only done one shot and it was nasty, so she never did it again. Okay. But then she goes on to say this.
I've actually never been drunk.
What did she say? I'm sorry. We have seen so many episodes of her with her tumbler mug walking around and her just kind of getting loosey-goosey and laughing and being so silly. And her eyes as bloodshot as all get out.
Allegedly.
And glassy.
Allegedly.
And shiny.
Allegedly.
I mean, maybe, I guess, it's a possibility that she's not drunk, but she's high. I don't know if she understands what drunk is. Then again, maybe she hasn't been drunk.
No, I've never had a shot at a bar. I've never really even been in a bar.
TLC had cameras of you in the Irish bar with all the rest of... I've never even been in a bar. It's Robin and Kody, ambiguous language speak. I've never really ever been in a bar. What does that mean? You've never really ever been in a bar. Oh, that means I've been in a bar. I just didn't really drink when I was in the bar. So I can just say I've never really been in a bar. She was in a bar. We have it on tape. And because we have that on tape, and because she's married to Kody, we know she's probably been in way more bars than that. My kids have been in bars. There's bars and grills everywhere. So, very cute. It is very clear at the end that literally Janelle took one sip of that beer and she pushed it aside. That's fine. That's fine. And then Kody is trying to think. We have the pontificator professor showing up here in Kody at the very end, and very astutely is analyzing why it is that things might not be working out with Janelle right now. He's trying to figure out, why would Janelle move without letting him know? And he says, oof, if I overanalyze it, this is my conclusion.
More than anything, it could be just getting away from me and the experience we've had to get to something that's better. I don't know.
I'm thinking, that's not overanalyzing. That's pretty much on the surface.
Spot on.
That's like the cards laid out in front of you. Yeah, you got it, Kody. All right, that's the end of the episode. We do have a coming this spring. I don't know when spring begins, and this is messing with my schedule in a major way. It is affecting my other jobs and the way I scheduled my weekend retreats and my life. Thank you very much. I wish more than anything my daughter still was working in the industry and had access to all of the schedules. At any rate, we're just going to go with it. We'll just take it day by day, week by week together and see where these next couple months take us. Thank you all for sticking it out to the very end with me. I appreciate you. You are my sister friends. Take care. God bless. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.